Hey everybody, Angelica, and welcome to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing a book review on the Perfect Marriage by Jeneva Rose. I believe that's how you say her name. I'll put it here. I'll have the book, and I don't know where I'm going to place it, but I'll have the book and the author's name and everything on this video, so you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I just finished this book on Audible like literally 2 days ago, and I really did enjoy the book. I just really want to talk about like the nitty gritties and the ending and everything like that. But I wanted to do a non-spoiler segment first, and then kind of go from there with the nitty gritty. So I really want to talk about the details of this book. But for like a non-spoiler section of it, I would say that this book follows a married couple named Adam and Sarah. So it follows that married couple, and end of the story, it's about she's a really good defense attorney, and he is a writer, and he's like not really having good sales and all that stuff. So she's a really hard working woman because she has to be working all the time to kind of provide for the both of them. But the book literally starts off where the book is gonna kind of what the book is gonna go through is Adam is having an affair, and his mistress pretty much is killed and in their bed. And the book follows, and you kind of find out who killed the mistress. And it's so good with how it was written. I've read books where like thrillers and all that stuff, but there was something about this one that I really did enjoy, and I give the overall book a 3 out of 5 stars only because I did not enjoy the ending. But I feel like once you read it, you'll completely understand what I mean. And I feel like I can't explain why I didn't like it without spoiling the ending, without spoiling any of it. So I feel like I do recommend you reading it, and you can have your own opinions about the ending and how you feel about it. But the overall rest of the book is 5 out of 5 stars. So I do still recommend reading it because the way she just writes it is just so well written, and you don't know who the killer is. So I definitely would recommend reading it, and I think that's the best that I can give for a non-spoiler. I'm so bad at the non-spoilers, I'm not gonna lie, because in my head certain things could be considered a spoiler to some people, and certain things could not be considered a spoiler. So I don't know, I'm just thinking about what the synopsis is on the back of the book, where literally they're married, and she's a defense attorney, and she's helping him try to figure out who killed the mistress. And it's about, did he kill her, did he not, like who killed the mistress, So I definitely still recommend the book, but I think that's the best that I can give for a non-spoiler review. When it comes to the spoilers, I promise we gonna get into the details. So that's gonna cut it off right here. So if you have not read the book, stop watching right now, because I'm about to pop up in some nitty gritties. Alrighty, let's go. Can we talk about the ending? Can we talk? I just have to jump in the ending. I just have to start with the ending, because in my brain, it just doesn't make sense for Sarah to be the killer. In my brain, it does not make sense for Sarah to be the killer. I get the idea that they were trying to hide it from the audience and all that stuff, but I feel like with this kind of book and this kind of story, we can't be in the point of view of the killer. She literally, at the end, when she just told us in that literally like that one little chapter section there, where she's like, yeah, me and Bob killed or set it up to frame Adam and all that stuff. I was over here like, but we were in your head. Her internal dialogue and her emotional reaction to certain things, we were in her head for those things. You're telling me she was faking it in her head too? Like, that don't even make any sense. Like, the overall book was 5 out of 5 fucking stars. Amazing, top-notch writing. I don't know what it was. The fact that everybody made comments, or everybody like did shit where you were like, that's kind of sus. That's kind of sus too. Like, everybody was like suspect. You didn't know who the killer was, and you genuinely thought it could be anybody. You didn't know who it could be. Like, every person, and there was at one point, I think it was about like chapter 20, 25, around that area, I started to think it was Anna, the fucking assistant, because they did like a couple things where like she was weirdly obsessed with Sarah, and I started to think, oh, maybe she took Adam having an affair as like something hurting Sarah, and that she got revenge. That's what I thought for like a good chunk of the book. And then there was 1 second where maybe I'm like, oh, what if it was Sarah? But then I was like, wait. no way it's Sarah, because like we've been through her head. No way it could be Sarah. So I checked Sarah out, and I checked Jeremy out as the killer as well, because we're reading through his point of view. If it wasn't for the fact that Sarah and Jeremy talked about that time or that frame of time where he didn't have memory, I was like, I like started to think it was him for half a second when he was having that internal dialogue where he was talking about how easy it would be to kill Rebecca. Like, what was that about? What was that about? The moment he like said, oh, it would be so easy to slide across this room and crush her windpipes and I would be in control for once, I was like, bro, maybe he killed her in that short period of time that he doesn't have like memory of. I thought, I started to think that for a second, because Jeremy, I keep saying Jeremy because of Verity, but it's Adam. I keep thinking of that, but Adam was like, I think that's just something about that like I can't look past. So there, he's a psycho for that, but I never once like I said, for a second I thought it was Sarah, but then I was like, wait, that won't make sense, so it can't be Sarah. Like for the majority of the book, I thought it was Anne, excuse me. And once we got to, I don't know, it's just like when she started to, I just think the ending was rushed and very underwhelming. Like you had a top-notch book. She could have made it anybody. She had so much potential, like so much she could have done with that ending. And for it to just be Sarah, and Sarah to just randomly tell us, yeah, me and Bob set it up. It made me think about the scene where her and Bob were alone in the conference room, and they were still pretending like they didn't like each other. They didn't know each other. Like like not that they didn't know each other, but that they weren't working together. Like it would make sense if there was never a scene with her and Bob alone, or if we weren't in our head and the book was told through third person, then it could make sense that Sarah's the killer. But like her and Bob had scenes together where they were alone, and they never once talked about, hey, how's the plan going, or do this, that, and the other. I feel like they would have been plotting, or they would have been talking about it when they were alone. But when they were alone, she still acted like she didn't like him and that he was a piece of crap and all that stuff. Like, what? That don't make no sense. So it's just that part of it is kind of, it's hard to wrap my brain around it. And I didn't fuck with God damn it, I keep saying Jeremy. I'm like, I'm not even gonna try to edit that out, because that's just gonna be a hassle. It's just like every time I was reading this book, I kept comparing Adam and Sarah to Jeremy and Verity from the book Verity. If you haven't read that, spoilers for that, sorry. But they're like as crazy as them. So I kept comparing them to them, because I was like, bro, this book's so wild. Verity's wild as fuck too, if you haven't read that. But like, I just kept comparing them. But I felt so bad for Adam's outcome, though. I just felt like it's so fucked up that people get killed or put in jail or executed for crimes they didn't commit. It's just something really wild about that. But Sarah being there and smiling while Eleanor cried, like, I thought they just made Sarah crazy in the last chapter there. Like, after the time jump, 11 years later, she just became a different person. And I was just like, huh? It just didn't make it. Like I said, the whole book is 5 out of 5 stars, but I felt like that after the time jump, it's like 1 out of 5 stars. It's just bad. Like, what was that? Like, what was that? There was so much potential, but what was that? I also didn't expect it to be the sheriff that was the one fucking her, that was the third guy she was having sex with. I never expected that. And I just think it was also really interesting how delusional how delusional Adam was when it came to, like, he was just crazy. I get that he was not in the right state of mind, because I wouldn't understand trying to deal with the fact that I was getting arrested for a crime that I didn't commit. But there was a lot of things that he did where he fucked up his own case. And now we know why Sarah was getting mad, because it was going to fuck up what her plan was. See, like, that makes sense. Her getting mad, and then it ended up being because she they plotted against it. That makes sense. But then, like, there's so much shit where it's like, we were in her head. Like, when the one part where she finds the picture and it says, end it or I will and all that stuff, and she knew that it was Anne's handwriting, in her internal dialogue, she would have said that, right? Like, she tried to act like she didn't know who wrote it in her head. You can't write that. That doesn't make any sense. We were in her head, and she tried to act in her own head, not to the sheriff. She did to the sheriff pretend that she didn't know who the writing was, but even in her own head, though, she didn't. She, like, acted clueless. So, like I said, I love the book overall. I just hated that ending. I hated it. But I feel like that's the best review that I can give. I really enjoyed, like I said, she wrote every character great. All, like, you know, Matthew, Anne, like the sheriffs, all the cops. Like, I feel like every single person was sus at one point. Like, maybe not Matthew, until Anne made that comment how Matthew would go straight for Sarah and like how he's weirdly into her and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe Matt would do some shit. I don't know. But it was just like, this book was, she wrote every character so well. Every character made weird comments, and there was weird, like when they were doing scenes, somebody would do some weird shit and I would be like, oh, it's them. It's that fucking person. And then something else would happen. I'm like, wait, no, it's that fucking person. So like, it was really good with that. It was great with that. It was just like that ending was just not it. It just wasn't it. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I feel like this is probably a shorter of the review. I just feel like that's the best that I can give it with the book. I love the whole book. It's just that ending was, it just doesn't make sense for Sarah to be the killer. It just doesn't make sense for Sarah to be a killer. But I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts and your guys' reviews. What did you guys rate it? How did you guys feel about it? I know a lot of people on TikTok, I was, you know, watching TikToks about it. You know, a lot of people did like it, and a lot of people were surprised that it was Sarah. I feel like it was cliche that it was Sarah, but I just feel like it just didn't make sense because we read through her head. It's not that I'm upset that it was Sarah. It was just in my head, it doesn't make sense that it was Sarah. Like realistically, like logically, it can't be Sarah. We were in her fucking head, you know what I mean? But if you enjoyed the video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Comment. I'm live in those comment sections. We can all talk about the book. If you guys have any book recommendations, definitely let me know in the comment sections below. I love getting book recommendations. I love reading new books. I'm eventually going to pop a video here of all the books that I read in 2020. Probably not, obviously not this month. I'll probably do it at the end of December, since I'll probably end up reading more books before the end of this year. But, you know, keep a lookout on that video. And I will have another video that I am uploading today of a Too Late review by Colleen Hoover. That book was wild. So definitely keep up with that one. That probably will be a little bit of a longer video because there's so many layers with that one, you know what I mean? There's so much, so I'll definitely pop on that one. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Deuces.